Alright, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again, and hello again, ArcheAge community. So, a very common video that's been, or common question that's been asked now is, how do I gear up with the new 1.2 patch? Because they have, for those of you who don't know, they kind of demolished Aurora. You can't really get the drops from Aurora, and the way the market is at the moment with crafting with sunlight and moonlights, it's pretty much impossible to get gear from the old point of view standpoint. So, I'm going to try to do my best to help you guys out and explain to you guys the fresh 50s, how to start obtaining gear. Now, I cannot verify that this is the best way to do it in any type of way. I'm just letting you guys know from my personal experience that I've learned, because I was already semi-geared before this patch hit, so I didn't have to go through these stages, but I've worked and tried to research a little bit to try to help you guys out. So, let's start with a fresh character. You just hit level 50. So, upon reaching level 50, you have a couple options. Now this is all relevant, so the patch we're currently in, this will still work. So if you want to get a weapon, you have two options. A, you can go to Hosa. When you're in Hosa, you can come down here by the abandoned drill camp, which is in this section right here. And there's a little, you see this little thing right over here. There's like these little flower looking mobs. And if you want to go, you can check out my other videos. I have one on Hosa specifically. And when you kill them, you get these little runes. And the runes, there's 6 different ones, I believe. Each one is categorized to a different weapon, including a shield. Now, they don't have every weapon type. They have specific ones, like they have a staff, they have a bow, they have a one-hand sword, they have a two-handed something, they have a shield, and then I think they have something else. I'm not sure the last one. So that's where you can go to get your weapons. Additionally, there's another place to go. But also, to confirm in Hosa, they have these things called like the Crimson Rift events, where that's another way to get gear, but I can't speak too much about that because I don't know much about it and I don't want to give you guys false information. However, what I do know is when you have the Rift event going, they basically multiply the drop rate in Hosa gear by like 5 times for the tokens, so it's much easier to obtain your weapon. And for those of you guys who are familiar with my gear, I've been using a tier 2 Hosa weapon for almost 2 months now. It hasn't changed. It's an okay weapon, it's alright. So you guys have seen me PvP, and that's with this weapon. This is tier 2. You can get a tier 3. You can also regrade it if you choose to. That's entirely up to you. That's a whole nother section, which is regrading. So, that's number 1. That's your weapon. So that crosses off Hosa. Just to confirm, you cannot get gear from Hosa, although you can obtain weapons. Just making sure we all understand that. So, number 2. Upon gaining your weapon from Hosa, or say you want to do something else, you have the next choice of getting a group for a dungeon. The dungeon is called Greater Howling Abyss. Now, Greater Howling Abyss is located over in, let's see, Hell Swamp. When you go to Hell Swamp, if you look right over here, there's Howling Abyss entrance, and you can go in the greater version. I also have an entire guide on running the dungeon. I'm gonna assume it's pretty much the same. It was pre 1.2. I have confirmed with my friends. The gear that drops out of there is still the same. I don't know if there's additional gear, but I'm going to show you guys the gear, and if you find an interest in it, feel free to run the instance to try to help you guys out. So, a couple of pieces I've accumulated from the past is the following. Here is a heroic Aurora chest, a heroic GHA chest piece for leather, not the piece I'm wearing, the heroic one. So it's 27 strength, 69 agility, and 49 stamina. Pretty much every piece of this area is a tri-stat. It's not always this exact stats. Like, you know, Aurora is always the 2-piece. It's always like blank and then stamina, blank and then stamina, blank and then stamina. This one varies a little bit. So that's the heroic chest piece for leather. The heroic cloth is right here if you guys want to take a look. I don't have a heroic plate, but I do have other plate pieces to show you guys. So if you want to compare, here is the plate armor, which is Agi stamina strength, and then we have the legs, which is Agi strength stamina, same thing actually, just varied on the way the stats are categorized. And then heroic cloth pants. And then I have a shield that drops off the last boss. I believe it's the last boss. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's the last boss. And we have a basic one-handed weapon. Now, on top of that, everything that can drop out of there is heroic. You can also get a pet out of there. There's also a pretty decent bow you can gain out of there as well, which is off the first boss. I forgot what it's called, but it does increase endless arrow damage by, I believe, 5%, maybe 10%. So it's an okay bow. And it's called Child's Killer or something like that. So that's how you can gain, if you're interested, a 7-piece set for PvE. It's not very good for PvP, but it's just standard gear. You know, it's better than not having anything. So that would be your number 2 option. If you want accessories, you can go to an area called I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to call it Kappa Cradle. It is in Rookborn, right over here. It's a 45 dungeon, a level 45 dungeon, Krolol Cradle entrance. And you can gain an accessory set. I don't know if I have the accessory set on me, but I know it's a 3-piece magic defense set. I'm going to check in my bank. Let's see if I have it. Do I have it anywhere here? I don't believe I do. Let me just check to confirm. Nope, but it's a 3-piece accessory set, and it gives a magic defense bonus. It's very minor stats. It's nothing too crazy. I'm just gonna check to see if I have anything here. Possibly, it could possibly be in here. But that's where you want to go for your set. Also, if you want to get mount gear, that's where the mount gear drops as well, is in the level 45 dungeon. Let's see, maybe I mailed it to myself. Did my friends mail me my gold back? Not yet. Who knows? It might be in here. What is this? No, that's some other stuff. Okay, we're not going to talk about that last message. So, but I can assure you it's in there. So, we're going to go ahead and go to the next one. Now, from what I've been told, in Aurora now, you cannot obtain the Aurora pieces. From what I've been told, I cannot confirm this. However, I can't confirm this part either, but people told me you can get the Aurora capes as well, or still. The Aurora capes, for example, are block rate by 5%, movement speed by 10%, decreased cast time, increased attack speed, and the one that used to be 7% of damage converted to health is now just a flat 500 or 600 health. From what I've been told, they drop now, but they're bound and they have their own rarity type. So that's something that I've been informed of. So, moving on into that, you also have your crafted gear. The crafted gear is the very expensive gear as of right now because of the way the market works, but you can still obtain it nonetheless, and if you want to know where that is, if you go to your crafting section, for example, I'm just going to go ahead and go to leatherworking, and I'll go to jerkin, and you can see here, this is where you would craft your gear, but this is what the really expensive stuff is, so this isn't really for a fresh 50. But there's also more. So, something else I know is if you want to get better weapons than Hosa, it's going to be expensive, but you can farm majority of it. Now, if you go, for example, I'm going to go to O, I'm going to go to Carpentry, and I'm going to go to anything here. So I'm going to go with a Scepter. So this would be your standard crafted weapon. It goes all the way down, and then I think it starts, where's the new tier is right here, Obsidian Scepter. So these first 3 tiers, if you see, now this works for any piece, any weapon, you have 3 tiers. These are separate from up here. So this is all sealed, this is all upgrades, and right here is the threshold. Now, these first 3 tiers you can obtain by farming in an area I'll show you. In the last 3 tiers, I don't believe we can get these 2 tiers. Could be incorrect there. I know you can get the 4th tier. So, to show you guys where all this stuff is. Now, just to confirm, this is better than Hosa from my personal experience. I don't know if every piece of gear is better. But these are very good weapons, and they each have their own built-in stats on them in their equip effect, which is insane. Like, a crafted one of these is better than, like, it has more magic attack if it's properly enchanted than my Hosa weapon as a one-hander with the ignored magic defense. So they're pretty ridiculous. But just as an example, I'm going to show you guys. So these 3 dusts here. Now these I can confirm because I've had them and I farmed them myself. So of this dust tier, actually, sorry, let's start with the first tier. Let's do that. All right, you have these malevolent obsidian stones, which I have 200 of. Very easy to obtain, so I'm going to show you exactly where to get them right now. The malevolent stones you can gain from Aurora over in Diamond Shores. There's a bunch of mobs anywhere ranging from like over here all the way through here, or my personal favorite area, all right here. You can obtain malevolent stones all there, and there's other places you can obtain them as well. I'm just going to show you guys a couple spots. So that's one spot where you can get malevolent stones. Next here is malevolent stones, along with haunted obsidian, which you can also obtain from the exact areas I showed you. They're just more rare to obtain via their, blue. Then you need, for example, a material that's more specific. So this aquamarine, to my knowledge, does not drop from any of the mobs I've killed here, although I'm sure it might, just be a bit more rare. But mobs I can guarantee that the aquamarine drops off of would be the water elementals in sun gold fields all around the edges here by the guard towers. There should be sun gold, there should be like water elementals all here. And those guaranteed will drop these aquamarines. Then going on, you're going to hit your next tier, which is everything again. It's just more expensive. You need more and more of the materials. and then Iron Sorrow, for example. Now I'm going to go into these salvage pieces later. Those are the expensive ones. Just showing you guys what you can farm now. So Iron Sorrow is very simple in the materials that you need. You need brine flakes, you need dense lead, and you need, I'm just going to call it a chocolate bar. So those three materials are very simple. You can literally just go to Aurora, you can go to Diamond Shores, and in here you see the ruins in here. And this is actually, we call it library. You can walk in a library and you have an entire checkerboarded area that you can farm in. There's like 30, 40, 50, 60, I don't know how many rooms. There's a ton of rooms. Pretty much any mob in there will drop what you need. I can confirm it for you. You can see all the materials I have right here. I've got everything for Red Sorrow. I've got everything for Steel Sorrow in terms of the library materials. Now, the expensive part. So that's all grinding. That can be done, you know, for free. The expensive part, however, is the salvage illustrious, for example, which you would need of every tier. So if you're doing a katana, you'll need a salvaged illustrious katana. If you're doing an adachi, you'll need a salvage illustrious nadachi. This is obtained by getting a illustrious scepter, which means somebody has to craft it, which is expensive. And then I don't know if you have to disenchant it or you have to use something else to disenchant it. It's one of the others. But moral of the story is that part's very easy to figure out. I mean, you can't really mess that part up. But this is where it becomes expensive, so this is really not recommended for a fresh 50, but I'm just explaining you guys your options when it comes to crafting. And then it goes from an illustrious to another illustrious, actually, which then goes into a magnificent, which goes into an Ethereum, and then eventually it would go into another Ethereum with, I think, 3 Ethereum. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But these you don't have to worry about. Your goal will stay here. So that's pretty much everything that comes up to the top of my head. If you guys have any more questions, you know, feel free to let me know. I hope this helps you out in some type of way. You know, I'm really trying to help you guys out, but just as you guys don't have any information on the patch, I don't have any information on the patch either. I mean, I just go through and play what I can, especially with my limited amount of play now, with multiple games that I'm playing and whatnot. But, you know, if you ever want to check me out, feel free to just check me out at twitch.tv/Pohx. It's right down below. You can also check my Twitter at twitter.com/POHXX to know when I go live streaming all the games that I do. Furthermore, if you ever want to, you know, get in contact with me, you can message me on Twitch, you can drop a comment below, you can message me at my inbox. There's so many different things you can do to message me. I read pretty much every comment. So that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you liked the video, feel free to follow, subscribe, and or share and feed. I think that's all of them. So, yeah, have a wonderful day. Hope to see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.